Oh, I'm not celebrating what this country is right now. I'm having a barbecue with the family tomorrow. I ain't celebrating this shit. Are you kidding me? Celebrating a minority group that's heavily oppressed is one thing. This country ain't what it was.
ReviewTechUSA refuses to celebrate the 4th of July. He calls himself ReviewTechUSA, and yet he can't celebrate the country's founding. He can't celebrate our freedom. He can't celebrate, with his kids. He very specifically did this 4th of July stream on the 4th of July, by the way. So instead of going out and watching fireworks with his young children, he stayed home and did a live stream about DarkSydePhil. Kino Casino did more to celebrate the 4th of July than he did, and they're Canadian. Like, PPP dresses up like a majestic fucking bald eagle, and meanwhile Rich is just sitting there talking about Phil on the 4th instead of going out and spending time with his family. It is pathetic. What a man child. It's just unbelievable. Like, it's 5 hours. This live stream was like 5 hours of him sitting there talking about DSP. He's legit just sitting there running his mouth like Phil, he's so pathetic. He's such a man child. Like, he's playing games on the 4th of July, when Phil himself is playing, when Rich himself is streaming about Phil on the 4th of July. Like, what you're seeing here is just a crash out of epic proportions. Okay, here you have the stereotypical, like, leftish shill, someone who is ostensibly left wing purely because he thinks it's going to get him more pussy. This guy is coming out releasing statements about how, like, I'm not proud of my country. I hate my country. I hate the leadership. I hate everything about it. And it's just so laughably stupid. Okay. Like, you're telling me that you hate your country so much that you won't go out and spend time with your family. Okay. You can't, like, really make the best of the situation. You can't really just, celebrate everything the country has done for you and, celebrate with your family. It's just an insane way of thinking. It truly, legitimately is. And it's baffling to me to see how many people like Rich are out there who are so miserable and are so pathetic and are so alone that they would genuinely rather stream about DarkSydePhil on the 4th of July instead, instead of actually, spending time with their families, right? And like, it's very interesting, when you look at, like, how I go about this, because, there are things about the country I don't like. There are things that, like, people, everybody has problems with the country, but, like, here's the thing about America, you son of a bitch. Like, if you don't like something, you can fight to change it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on Twitter advocating for, like, young white men. Okay, what do you do? Okay, like, what are you doing? Like, I'm making plans. I'm making more money than ever on YouTube. I'm branching out into, like, supporting Charlie Kirk style, revolution. Okay, like, what are you doing besides streaming about DSP? Okay, again, there are always going to be problems no matter what, no matter where you are or what you're doing. But what really matters is whether or not you're going to stand up and actually address them, actually try and correct them, actually try and fix them. I'm doing that, but people like Rich never will. People like Rich do this thing where they're just like, please, government, please, please, daddy government, I want universal health care so you can pay for my Ozempic and you can pay for my children's education, and you can pay for my housing, and you can take care of me. I don't want to lift a finger. I don't want to work. I don't want to work a real job. Oh, I got fired from Best Buy. Oh, like, Rich is the stereotypical example of everything wrong with leftist discourse, okay? Because they can complain all they want about the country and about like what the country is doing and they're like the government and all that, but they won't do anything to change it. They have no real convictions. They don't have anything like any idea of what needs to be done outside of like I need more free stuff. Okay, like they don't really have any real comprehension of any real idea of what the country should be outside of what like the young Turks tell them, essentially. And that's kind of my mindset towards ReviewTechUSA. I believe until 2020 he never voted at all. Right? This is the person who like is telling you that the country is terrible. Someone who's never like involved himself with the system. No one who's like been a political advocate. He has or had at one point in a day in an age long gone by. He had like 1 million subs on YouTube. Right? Do you really think that's not like a major deal? Do you really think that's not something that like he could have used to like branch out into political discourse and like actually influence people and actually talk about serious issues? Like he could have, but he didn't. Like he just segued into like just drama farming film content, nowhere near as effectively as Kino Casino, by the way. They pull way bigger numbers when it comes to like their film content than Rich does. It's kind of interesting because Rich has spent like his past at least 10 years being exclusively a DSP coverage channel, while Kino Casino have done it like in the past year and have had like way greater success, have done way more to fill, have like shown more sides of like, Phil's personality and like, really etched themselves into like the wider Rich lore, like DSP lore. Like Rich in comparison is like he's like a parasite. He's like one of those
That's right. Louis J. Book.
he's like one of those like parasite
Okay.
that like latch onto you and just kind of like suck your lifeblood. Okay, like he's trying to do that with Phil, but like it's not working. He's not getting the nutrients he's needing. That's why he's actually losing weight, by the way. It's because his channel is failing so badly that he can't afford any food. Okay, that's the real reason he's losing weight. Is that like he just can't go to the grocery store and buy anything because like his channel is failing so hard. It's embarrassing. It is downright pathetic to see what Rich has become over the past 10 years. Okay. And I'm very curious to see like where this ends because like I feel as if like Rich is just kind of spiraling more and more. I really think Rich is the kind of guy who felt that like once he lost the weight, once he took like the highest dosage of Ozempic imaginable, legally allowed, medically allowed, and like lost all that weight, that it would somehow turn his life around. And like he just doesn't have the discipline. Okay. He's losing weight, but he's not building muscle, right? He's gonna look like some like weird skeleton, like gooner, like weirdo. Okay. He's not gonna look good. Okay. He's gonna have this like he's gonna like look like a drug addict, actually. I mean, that's what he is. But like him losing so much weight, he's such an ugly motherfucker that no matter how much weight he loses, he's still gonna look bad. Okay, he's still gonna look like shit. Like, do you think Lauren's gonna jump back on his cock like after it happens? Like, if she did to begin with, there's a real possibility that those kids aren't his. Like, we like no matter what Rich does, he's fucked. Okay, like he's not gonna have a resurgence of the channel. I'm convinced that like his live streams are botted because there's no way anybody is watching him at this point. Because like he talks about me like all the time, right? He's always like throwing shade at me and coming after me. I have seen like no evidence that anybody who watches my content, who engages with me at all, like follows or cares about Review Tech USA at all. And he's been talking about me like regularly for the past 3 years, right? Like I have never seen any evidence that like Review Tech USA has had like any impact on my channel at all. and that just makes me feel that like it's just kind of like a shell channel, okay, where like it's propped up entirely by bots and by like trolls like covering this guy. Like Review Tech USA has no audience. Like not a single person is taking time away from their families or their lives or their holiday to watch Review Tech USA talk about DSP. Okay, I myself wasn't aware of this until like yesterday morning, and I really debated whether or not I would like make a YouTube video talking about it. And in the end, I went ahead and committed because like this is something that like needs to be brought up. Is that like making drama content on a holiday, especially one as like as significant as like the 4th of July, like that is absolutely ridiculous. Like it's something that should get called out and something that should be addressed and something that like really needs to be like brought up as just like a case study example of just how messed up the Review Tech USA actually is.